Broadcasting from the last homely house in Rivendell, Middle-earth, this is the Secret Fire Podcast, sent to burn at the heart of the world, episode number 28. I'm Michael.
I'm Brenden.
I'm Micah.
On this episode, we will finish the Council of Elrond and see the scape hobbit that takes away the sin of Middle-earth. And we invite you to come along, join the fellowship, become a servant of the Secret Fire each week here on the GCT Network.
This is your Great Commission transmission.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the studio after a week off to celebrate here in the United States. What did we celebrate?
We celebrate the giving of thanks.
And Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yes.
Brenda, did you have a good turkey day?
I did have a good turkey day. I made the turkey on our turkey day.
You made a turkey?
It was
You
quite,
got some power. Wait a second.
Quite delicious.
So there was no turkey, and
Yes.
Brenden spoke, and it leapt into existence.
Let there be turkey is what I said. Let there be turkey.
Then did you have to slaughter it and clean it?
No, thankfully it was already slaughtered. It was already carcassified, and all I had to do was clean it and then
you have the
prep it and cook it.
You
and
have
serve
the
it.
power of faith.
Hey, man. Hey, I got the power. That is what Jesus says. If anyone has the faith the size of a turkey carcass.
Turkey?
No, turkey carcass.
Oh, okay.
A turkey carcass that's already been defeathered. Because ain't nobody got time for that.
Was it cooked, too? Did you speak that into existence?
No. I wanted to cook it myself.
And how did you cook this? Deep fry it?
Oh, no.
Smoked it?
No, in a roaster.
Oh, good.
In a roaster and then in the oven.
Do you use those turkey roasting bags? Or
normally we do.
Yeah.
But this year we tried something different. And this year I think what we did worked out a little bit better. Now, the bag is a great idea, though.
Did you have to baste it then the whole time?
No.
No.
No, what we did instead was Okay, guys, here's the secret.
Okay.
Here's the secret to all your turkey.
See, I didn't get all this
troubles.
information the first time that we tried to do this episode and failed to record
And you
it.
say, let's go faster. Now we're talking about turkey.
So the trick was, and I got this from the Filipino lady that I work with at the school that I work at. So you know it's true.
Yes.
You cook the turkey upside down.
How in the world did you balance that on the breastbone?
Breast side down, and put a stick of butter in the cavity.
Okay.
And then do your roasting from there.
So that butter is going to melt down into the meat.
Exactly.
Mix with the juices.
That's the trick.
How was it?
It was so good.
Just butter, no other seasonings.
We did like a McCormick poultry seasoning on the
No
outside.
parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme.
No, didn't have time for any of that.
Wow. No cambric shirt.
No.
Okay.
No.
On the turkey.
Here's the butter.
No.
Well, good. Now, would this be something that I could experience in the Shire?
I would hope so.
The flavors and the smells. And
I would hope so.
Awesome.
Now, my mom made her, of course, signature dressing, which always has to be a part of Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dressing is my favorite part of the meal.
So, not stuffing, mind you. Not stuffing.
Okay.
Dressing.
And what's the difference as far as you,
Well,
in your humble opinion?
in my humble opinion, and in my honest opinion,
Yes.
the difference is that one is cooked inside the turkey and the other is cooked outside the turkey.
So stuffing is inside? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, then I like dressing as well.
Essentially the same dry ingredients, just a different method of cooking.
They say don't cook it in the turkey.
Yeah, that's what they say, but people still do it.
Well, yeah, because that's
Those
what
are
the
dummy
Pilgrims
heads.
said to do.
Well, they also overuse their sage, and that's not good.
And their rosemary
And their
thyme. And their cambric shirts. Yeah. And so what about Christmas time?
Well, we all know when Christmas actually starts. It's the day after Halloween.
No.
Obviously.
Micah, when does the
That's when
Christmas
it starts for me.
Christmas starts whenever you want it to.
Oh, keep Christmas.
Hey, that's what Scrooge says after his
No,
transformation.
that's what Elmo says.
Oh.
Every day can't be Christmas. That wouldn't be much fun. You know, Elmo Saves Christmas?
No.
What?
No, sorry.
Man.
Sorry, missed the boat on that one.
You just keep Christmas in your heart. No, Christmas, everybody knows, starts the day after Thanksgiving. And Micah, you know this full well
In our
because
house.
for 18 years now, we break out the Christmas decorations on the day after Thanksgiving and decorate up. And that gets me in the mood because I love Christmas. And I love Christmas in the Shire.
Oh, tell me
And
about
so what I'm going to do here is this whole entire month of December, and for those who are listening to this podcast after the fact, perhaps you're listening to it in July of 2018 or perhaps May of 2019. Maybe you weren't here for the fellowship as we are working in real time, and that's fine. You're always welcome into the fellowship, and we always consider you a part of an integral part of the fellowship. However, this month of episodes, beginning here with episode number 28, we are going to celebrate this whole month with Christmas in the Shire. Music that is inspired by Middle Earth, or that would fit nicely side by side. And we're going to start off this week to get us in the spirit here with one of my very favorite bands, Broceliond. And you've heard me talk about this before. They have these 4 albums that correspond with the 4 seasons of the year. And while I know technically it is fall, it is autumn still until the 21st of December. It's December, and that's good enough for me, right? Anybody disagree with that?
No.
So off of their album Sir Christmas, which you absolutely want to own, and you can get that at their website at broceliond.org. Let's listen to this is an ancient hymn, it turns out, right, Brenden? We'll talk a little bit more about that after we listen to Broceliond with a fantastic rendition of Gaudete right here on the Secret Fire Podcast.
Gaudete, gaudete, Christus es natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete. Quod optabamus, carmina laetitia, devote redamus. Gaudete, gaudete, Christus es natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete. Gaudete, gaudete, Christus es natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete. Deus homo factus est, natura merante, mundus renovatus est, a Christo regnante. Gaudete, gaudete, Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete. Gaudete, gaudete, Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete.
Porta clausa per transitor, unde lux est horta, Saulus invenitor.
Gaudete, gaudete, Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete. Gaudete, gaudete, Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete.
Ergo nostra contio salat iam in lustro, benedicat Domino, salus Regi nostro.
Gaudete, gaudete, Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete. Gaudete, gaudete, Christus est natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete.
What a powerful song that is. Those harmonies just send shivers up my spine. Brenden, tell us a little bit about this old hymn, Gaudete.
Well, the lyrics, Gaudete, gaudete, Christus es natus, ex Maria Virgine gaudete.
You
Does that sound
said
good?
That was fantastic.
Thanks,
You
man.
made me
Nice.
feel like I was in a liturgical worship, which
I felt like I was
I
Italian
just
for a
have, my
second.
heart longs for a good liturgical worship.
Well, of course. Now, that means, rejoice, rejoice, Christ has been born from the Virgin Mary. Rejoice.
Yes, amen.
There you go.
That's a great way to start off the month here in the we have expanded Yuletide here on the Secret Fire podcast because we're allowed to do that because this is our show.
That's right.
We can do anything we want on our show.
That is right.
In fact, last week we weren't able to make it into the studio. We've already covered that. We were eating turkey with butter, and
You got that right.
Yeah, sweet.
And you know the trick to crispy skin?
No, what is that?
Okay, back to turkeys.
Okay, good.
Okay. So
Cooking with Secret Fire Podcast.
So you've got it in the roaster upside down.
I'm picturing this.
Yes, upside down in the roaster. Michael,
Does it lay to one side though? How do you
No.
prop it? Do you put shoes under it or something?
No.
What do you do to prop it up?
We had
2x4s?
We had it on a rack.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I mean, I didn't think that'd make that much of a difference. Apparently, it does. But it's on the rack, upside down.
Not like a medieval instrument of torture.
No,
Implement of
no,
torture
no,
on
no,
the
no,
rack.
no, no,
Put them
no.
on the rack.
No,
okay.
what good is torture if they're not alive to feel it? So,
Hey, no,
Yeah,
no,
very-
no.
that
That
got
never
very
stopped
dark.
anybody.
well, that's true. That's true. But that got very dark.
You
very
talk about
quickly,
the
so-
Reformation and digging up bones. And,
No, gross.
Okay, come on. Why do you got to go in that direction? We're talking turkey.
From the roaster to the oven.
Yes.
Turn it right side up again,
All right.
and then do just a light covering of
More butter.
of an oil of some sort,
Okay. Olive oil.
and then put it back in the oven at a higher temperature.
Okay.
So,
Can we demonstrate this next Thanksgiving here
yeah,
on the show?
We'll try.
Let's do that. We'll get a camera in the kitchen.
I think we need to make another turkey for Christmas, Dad.
Oh, yeah, because now your mouth is watering.
that, and also the neti pot demonstration video. We need to do
Yes,
that.
those
as
two
well.
things.
That could be our Christmas presents to the
No,
listeners.
that takes me out of the Christmas spirit.
No,
No,
neti pot.
it puts me into the Christmas spirit.
So
It's
last
this
week-
time of year when I need it.
I teased that we were going to have a special episode of the Secret Fire podcast, and so therefore I was obligated to produce a special episode of the Secret Fire podcast, and that was going into the vaults of the old, now defunct, sadly defunct Middle Earth Network, and re-release an interview that we did from October of 2011. We had the absolute honor and privilege of having a great conversation with the stepson of C.S. Lewis, Mr. Douglas Gresham. And we all know Douglas Gresham as being the producer and co-producer of all the Narnia films, which gives us the opportunity to let all the listeners know that number 4, The Silver Chair, is at the very least in pre-production right now, and that's exciting stuff. So you want to go and listen to that episode, and stay tuned for another special. Well, it's actually, we call them officially Secret Fire Podcast specials. So we've done Douglas Gresham, and we have done Tom Shippey. So those two. Go back and listen to that. Get over to secretfirepodcast.com or search your podcast app on your smart device right now for the Secret Fire Podcast. All right, gentlemen, where did we leave off last time?
Oh, last time we left off with Gandalf finally saying, well, the tale is now told. We still have the ring. What do we do with it?
What do we do with it?
But let's back up just a little bit further.
Okay.
Let's finish up his story. His
narrative.
His experience. Yes, his narrative on Weathertop. I galloped to Weathertop like a gale, and I reached it before sundown on my second day from Bree. And they were there before me. Talking about the riders.
Correct.
Yes, the Black Riders.
The Riders on the Storm.
Yeah, no.
Dun, 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 dun.
They drew away from me, for they felt the coming of my anger, and they dared not face it while the sun was in the sky. But they closed round at night, and I was besieged on the hilltop, in the old ring of Amansul. I was hard put to it indeed. Such light and flame cannot have been seen on Weathertop since the war beacons of old. At sunrise, I escaped and fled towards the north. I could not hope to do more. It was impossible to find you, Frodo, in the wilderness, and it would have been folly to try with all the 9 at my heels. So I had to trust to Aragorn, but I hoped to draw some of them off, and yet reach Rivendell ahead of you and send out help. 4 riders did indeed follow me, but they turned back. There we go. Adding other T's.
Yeah.
Like the brown.
Yes.
Radagast the brown.
Yes.
But they turned back
Lightly
after a
brown.
while. Slightly crispy.
Yes. Put a little oil on them.
Breast side down in the oven. Oh, that's terrible.
It is.
That's,
Why did we do that?
That's hobbitalism. Is that
no,
it's
that would
not,
be
it's wizardism.
Istarianism.
Nice.
Istarabalism.
Oh, that's terrible.
That-
Michael, that's just as
No,
terrible.
no, enough of the puns.
Sorry.
No, I mean,
But I hope to draw some of them off and yet reach Rivendell ahead of you.
I suppose you think that was terribly clever.
I do, Gandalf, thank you. And send out help. 4 riders did indeed follow me, but they turned back after a while and made for the ford, it seems. That helped a little, for there were only 5, not 9, when your camp was attacked. I reached here at last by a long, hard road, up the Horwell and through the Etten Moors, and down from the north. It took me nearly 14 days from Weathertop, for I could not ride among the rocks of the Trollfells, and Shadowfax departed. I sent him back to his master, but a great friendship has grown between us, and if I have need, he will come at my call. But so it was that when I came to Rivendell, only 3 days before the ring, and news of its peril had already been brought here, which proved well indeed. And that, Frodo, is the end of my account. May Elrond and the others forgive the length of it, but such a thing has not happened before, that Gandalf broke tryst and did not come when he promised. An account of to the ring-bearer of so strange an event was required, I think. Well, the tale is now told, from first to last. Here we all are, and here is the ring. But we have not yet come any nearer to our purpose.
what shall we do with it?
The Council of Elrond is beginning. Come with me, both of you.
And here we find ourselves on page 264-ish of the Lord of the 265 of the Lord of the Rings 1-volume edition. Brenden, you are in the single.
The Del Rey paperback Ballantine Books edition, page 297.
All right, here we go. We have a half hour to get through the end of this book.
Oh, I think we can do it.
Okay.
There was silence. At last, Elrond spoke again. This is grievous news concerning Saruman, he said. For we trusted him, and he is deep in all our counsels. Excuse me. It is perilous to... Oh, here we go. It is perilous to study too deeply the arts of the enemy, for good or for ill. But such falls and betrayals, alas, have happened before. Of the tales that we have heard this day, the tale of Frodo was most strange to me. I have known few hobbits, save Bilbo here, and it seems to me that he is perhaps not so alone and singular as I had thought him. The world has changed much since I last was on the westward roads. The Barrow-wights we know by many names, and of the old forest many tales have been told. That all that now remains is but an outlier is an outlier of its northern march. Time was when a squirrel could go from tree to tree, from what is now the Shire to Dunland, west of Isengard. In those lands I journeyed once, and many things wild and strange I knew, but I had forgotten Bombadil. If indeed this is still the same that walked the woods and hills long ago, and even then was older than the old. That was not then his name. Okay, now y'all gonna have to help me on this part.
Iarwain?
Iarwain?
Wine.
Iarwain.
I want to say I remember.
Benadar.
I want to say somewhere that whenever the A and the I are together, it makes the I sound.
I think in what is he speaking here? Sindarin. I believe
no
that it is. The I is long.
So
Iarwain, Ben Adar.
Ben Adar, we called him oldest and fatherless. But many another name he has since been given by other folk. Forn by the dwarves, Orwald by northern men, and other names beside. He is a strange creature, but maybe I should have summoned him to our council.
He would not have come.
Said Gandalf. Could we not still send messages to him and obtain his help? Asked Erestor. It seems that he has a power even over the ring.
No, I should not put it so,
said Gandalf.
Say rather that the ring has no power over him. He is his own master, but he cannot alter the ring itself, nor break its power over others. And now he is withdrawn into a little land, within bounds that he has set, though none can see them, waiting perhaps for a change of days, and he will not step beyond them. But within those bounds, nothing seems to dismay him, said Erestor. Would he not take the ring and keep it there, forever and harmless? Forever harmless? No, said Gandalf, not willingly. He might do so if all the free folk of the world begged him, but he would not understand the need.
And if he were given the ring, he would soon forget it, or most likely throw it away. Such things have no hold on his mind. He would be a most unsafe guardian, and that alone is answer enough.
So here we have Erestor. And if I recall correctly, this is the first time we've heard him chime in.
I don't really remember who he is.
Okay, Erestor, that's because I love how he just speaks up and Tolkien gives no explanation as to who this guy is.
Is he a man?
No, he's an elf.
Oh, okay.
According to The Complete Guide to Middle-earth by Robert Foster, Erestor is an elf of Rivendell, Elrond's chief counselor.
Oh.
And so we see him in the films. Isn't that... what they call him? Frodo is great. Who is this guy? Frodo, Fizz, whatever.
Fizz-Whiz?
No, that was a thing. That was a thing back in when
Michael,
the
you're
movies
thinking
were
of Fezziwig, which we're about to cover.
we'll talk about that on our next
That's
show.
Fezziwig. That's a different universe. Michael.
Anyway, so that is who Erestor is. Of course, we have spoken of Galdor, right? Who was the messenger of Círdan, the shipwright from the Grey Havens, but just out of nowhere. And that is kind of what...
well, we've seen Erestor before.
Erestor.
We've seen him before, but maybe he hasn't had that much to say before.
When did we see him? Because I have no memory of this guy.
I remember we've had this conversation
so many times.
We have had this conversation many a time on how to say his name, and the only reason I can think that we would have that is because I didn't know how to say it.
Are you sure it was him?
I'm fairly... Yes, Erestor.
Huh.
It may not be in the Council of Elrond, but I'm pretty sure it's in Book 2. So maybe mini meetings?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Anyway.
We'll look, somebody let us know. Our memories. We can't remember
there you go.
half of it.
But in any case, said Glorfindel, now this guy we know.
Yeah, we do.
To send the ring to him...
He walks in both places, the light of Valinor.
We got to talk about... Oh, wait, have we talked about Glorfindel?
Yes.
Oh, see?
we can talk about him again.
We sure can. Why did you? Oh, you do have something that you want to...
We didn't talk about him in Gondolin, though.
Yeah, and...
yeah, that's a later
and then
thing,
it also ties in... Well, maybe in the party tree segment, and you could talk about you upgrading your in Lotro.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Here we are thinking out loud. Sorry about that, listeners.
But in any case, said Glorfindel, to send the ring to him would only postpone the day of evil. He is far away. We could not now make it or take it back to him, unguessed, unmarked by any spy. And even if we could, soon or late, the Lord of the Rings would learn of its hiding place and would bend all his power towards it. Could that power be defined by Bombadil alone? I think not. Could that power... Oh, I just read that. I think that in the end, if all else is conquered, Bombadil will fall, last as he was first, and then night will come. I know little of Irwine, save the name, said Galdor, but Glorfindel, I think, is right. Power to defy our enemy is not in him, unless such power is in the earth itself. And yet we see that Sauron can torture and destroy the very hills. What power still remains lies with us, here in Imladris, or with Círdan, thank you, at the havens, or in Lorien. But have they the strength? Have we here the strength to withstand the enemy, the coming of Sauron at the last, when all else is overthrown? I have not the strength, said Elrond, and neither have they. Then if the ring cannot be kept from him forever by strength, said Glorfindel, 2 things only remain for us to attempt: to send it over the sea, or to destroy it. Okay. I appreciate what Tolkien's trying to do here. He's trying to make it absolutely sure that this quest, that this little council's about to go on, I don't say little, trivially, but that this council's about to go on.
No, that the fellowship.
Yes, the fellowship. Thank
Yes.
you. That is much more dignifying. The quest that the fellowship is about to go on has to happen this way. And I think it speaks to that underlying presence of Eru Ilúvatar.
Yes, and his providence, his absolute right to rule.
Yeah.
And that this is the way that all things are going to work together. We see the same thing in the scriptures.
Yeah.
Well, why did it have to work out this way? Because that is the way that Yahweh said that it needed to take place. Because through it, what? He would be glorified.
There you go. And I think we'll even feel, or at least read. I know I felt it when I read it. We'll feel that presence again when Frodo starts stirring. And I think
the stirrings.
I think it's coming up.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, because I really do want to finish this chapter, let's skip ahead just a little bit.
All right.
Let's go to a long map. So they can't take it to Bombadil. They can't take it to
Círdan.
They can't.
It can't stay in Rivendell.
It can't stay in Rivendell. They can't take it to the sea and hope that it just stays there hidden.
But Gandalf has revealed to us that we cannot destroy it by any craft that we here possess, said Elrond. And they who dwell beyond the sea would not receive it. For good or ill, it belongs to Middle Earth. It belongs to this world. It belongs to this cosmos. It belongs to this ordered arrangement that we are in. It is the fate of this world, this cosmos, this system.
Oh, Michael, you're setting something up, I think.
I don't know.
Well,
maybe.
you already teased it at the beginning of the episode. So.
It is for us who still dwell here to deal with it.
So we can't take it to the sea. This is the BLT translation.
Right.
We're fast forwarding here. Then said Erestor, there are but 2 courses, as Glorfindel has already declared, to hide the ring forever or to unmake it. But both are beyond our power. Who will read this riddle for us? And this is where Elrond comes in.
Yes, this very first statement.
None here can do so.
They just have sat here for 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
8 episodes to come to this conclusion.
None here can do so, said Elrond gravely. At least, none can foretell what will come to pass, if we take this road or that. But it seems to me now clear which is the road we must take. The westward road seems easiest, therefore it must be shunned.
That's wisdom. Right there.
Yeah, that is wisdom.
Obviously, we can't go that way because it's the easiest way.
Yeah. It will be watched. Too often the elves have fled that way. Now at last we must take a hard road, a road unforeseen. There lies our hope, if hope it be, to walk into peril, to Mordor. We must send the ring to the fire. Man,
that is powerful.
And then I love this. It's almost poetic. Silence
almost
fell again. It is poetic. That was a turn of phrase, Michael.
Oh.
Silence fell again. Aha! And here it is. Listen for it. Frodo, even in that fair house, looking out upon a sunlit valley filled with noise of clear waters, felt a dead darkness in his heart. Boromir stirred, and Frodo looked at him. He was fingering his great horn and frowning. At length, he spoke. Now, before we let him speak, Frodo has that dead darkness in his heart. I don't know exactly what Tolkien's trying to convey there, but I have an inkling. I did not mean that.
You get a point for that.
I have an inkling.
Oh, you did it again!
No, stop, Michael. I want to get this thought out. Okay. That is the moment where Frodo knows that he's the man. I think so. This isn't when he says it.
No,
but
it's not.
This is when he knows it. This has to be when he knows it. I don't think Tolkien would have put that in there.
Frodo, even in that fair house, looking upon a sunlit valley filled with the noise of clear waters, felt a dead darkness in his heart. He knows.
He knows. Yeah.
Yes.
And this is... Okay.
But Boromir's thinking something completely different. They're both deep in thought.
Well, Boromir... Michael, I love Boromir, but he's a hothead.
Well, he's a warrior.
He is.
He's a watchman. We have to give him his due.
Yes.
Okay, he's an honorable... He is an honorable man.
Or as Marlon Brando would say, an honorable man.
Yes. He loves his people. He loves his city. He loves his father. He loves his heritage. He loves. He has a deep love.
Yeah, that's true.
But it drives him in another direction.
That's right.
Than the type of love that Frodo has.
I was gonna say something about that.
Go ahead.
I can't think.
Oh.
Let me read that paragraph again. Silence. See if it hits me again. Silence fell again. Frodo, even in that fair house, looking out upon a sunlit valley filled with the noise of clear waters, felt a dead darkness in his heart. Boromir stirred, and Frodo looked at him. He was fingering his great horn and frowning. At length, he spoke.
He must have been stirring something fierce.
Yeah.
To catch Frodo's eye. Because Frodo's deep in thought right now.
Yeah. Oh, I remember what I was going to say now.
Good. See?
So if we take this little paragraph, that's not even 5 full complete lines in the typesetting on my edition. If we take that to be the moment where Frodo knows that he is the one who will have to carry this ring, what is drama to me is that anytime someone else mentions that they're going to take it, what does Frodo think? Because Frodo has this secret now, and he's going to have the secret for at least a few pages. So anything that someone says that has to do with them
has to be
the ring,
seen through the lens of Frodo. Okay.
And we as the audience are keen to that secret. And we're going back and forth between Frodo, what he's thinking internally, and what's being said externally by other characters.
Especially in light of the fact that he's getting to keep his mouth shut this whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what makes a good drama on the stage, too, just saying. This is Boromir speaking. I do not understand all this, he said. Saruman is a traitor. But did he not have a glimpse of wisdom? Why do you speak ever of hiding and destroying? Why should we not think that the great ring has come into our hands to serve us in the very hour of need? Wielding it, the free lords of the free may surely defeat the enemy. That is what he fears most, I deem. The men of Gondor are valiant, and they will never submit, but they may be beaten down. Valor needs first strength, and then a weapon. Let me say that again. Valor needs first strength, and then a weapon. Let the ring be your weapon. If it has such power as you say, take it and go forth to victory. Alas, no, said Elrond. We cannot use the ruling ring.
No, Aragorn said that. You cannot use it. Don't you remember?
That says...
Don't you remember when Viggo Mortensen stands up?
No.
Viggo Mortensen is not Aragorn.
Oh. I'm sorry, I got mixed up with my versions.
Okay.
Alas, no.
Alas, no.
said Elrond.
Elrond, we cannot use the ruling ring. That we know, we now know too well. It belongs to Sauron, and was made by him alone, and is altogether evil. Its strength, Boromir, is too great for anyone to yield at will, save only those who have already a great power of their own. But for them it holds an even deadlier peril. The very despair of it corrupts the heart.
Oh boy, we had a shadow of this very statement right when we began, where Elrond I had operated under the understanding or the assumption that Bilbo was wholly unique in his character, his ability to resist the ring, his ability to get through danger and things. But here's Frodo now. And then we skip forward to this. The very desire of it corrupts the heart. And we have already heard that it has a weaker pull on hobbits, or at least Bilbo and Frodo, than it does other of the free folk of Middle-earth. So,
there you go. Consider Saruman. If any of the wise should with this ring overthrow the Lord of Mordor, using his own arts, he would then set himself on Sauron's throne. And yet another Dark Lord would appear. And that is another reason why the ring should be destroyed. As long as it is in the world, it will be a danger to even the wise.
Again, in the world. What world? Their current system, their ordered system. You can't send it to Valinor. You can't send it to anywhere else. It is the fate of this world, Middle Earth. Middle Earth. That's the cosmos. That's the world.
There you go.
The world that this applies to.
For nothing is evil in the beginning. Even Sauron was not so. I fear to take the ring to hide it. I will not take the ring to wield it.
Nor I, said Gandalf.
Boromir then looked at them doubtfully, but he bowed his head. So be it, he said. Then in Gondor we must trust to such weapons as we have. And at the least, while the wise ones guard this ring, we will fight on. Mayhap the sword that was broken may still stem the tide, if the hand that wields it has inherited not an heirloom only, but the sinews of the kings of men.
And he is speaking directly of Aragorn. He knows that Aragorn already presented. Here's the blade that was broken. Here's this. And so I'm getting a little bit different of a vibe than was portrayed in the films. I don't think that he's being biting or acidic in this statement. I think he's just saying, well, hey, you guys aren't going to listen to me, and I'm outnumbered here. And so mayhaps the sword that was broken may still stem the tide, if the hand that wields it has inherited not an heirloom only, but the sinews of the kings of men. He's saying, Aragorn, are you truly up for this? Are you the man? Are you the one that was prophesied to come? We spoke about that in depth in that particular episode, where Aragorn is a type of the Messiah. He is a type of the Christ. And this is Aragorn or Boromir saying, are you? Are you?
And he says, who can tell? Said Aragorn, but we will put it to the test one day. So let's ramp through this. The men can't have the ring. Neither can the dwarves, and they're next on the list, because then we go to Gloin and Balin. We're talking about Balin's account. Balin will find no ring in Moria, said Gandalf. Thor gave it to Thrain, his son, but not Thrain to Thorin. Yeah, Thorin. There we go. It was taken with torment from Thrain in the dungeons of Dol Guldur. I came too late. And that stems from the idea that Gloin has, well, maybe we can, still control this ring if we have the other rings.
Yes.
And that's where that comes from. But alas, the elves returned no answer. Did you not hear me, Gloin? Said Elrond. The 3 rings were not made by Sauron, nor did he ever touch them. But of them it is not permitted to speak. So much only so in this hour I doubt, I may now say, they are not idle. But they were not made as weapons of war or conquest. That is not their power.
I love that. They are not idle, these 3 rings, but they were not made as weapons of war or conquest. That is not their power. Those who made them did not desire strength or domination or hoarded wealth, but understanding, making, and healing to preserve all things unstained. These things the elves of Middle-earth have in some measure gained, though with sorrow. But all that has been wrought by those who wield the three will turn to their undoing, and their minds and their hearts will become revealed to Sauron if he regains the one. It would be better if the 3 had never been. That is his purpose. He wants those 3 rings for domination, for power, for conquest, for, as Thorin Oakenshield would say, I will have war.
Which Thorin, though?
The guy from Captain America. What's that guy's name? Richard Armitage. Yes.
That's not Thorin.
No, that is definitely not Thorin.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Is he in Captain America?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the spy or whatever.
Yeah, he's
the Hydra.
at the beginning that bites his tooth with the cyanide or whatever.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. Hey, let's skip ahead just a little bit.
Please.
Just a little bit.
He is bound and determined to finish this chapter. You have 2 minutes.
I've got one.
No, we'll just go. We'll go all day if we need to.
All right. So the 3 elven rings can't be meddled within this, according to Elrond, which, hey, he's speaking truth, let's be honest.
I think that we have set up, we understand what the drama is, what the conflict is, and there's one person that believes that he has a resolution for all of this. Down at the bottom of page 269 or the top of 270, depending, Micah. Mm-hmm. Very well. Very well. Do you mind if I skip to this part?
Oh no, that's where I was going. Go ahead, sir.
Very well, Master Elrond, said Bilbo suddenly. Say no more. It is plain enough what you are pointing at. Bilbo, the silly hobbit, started this affair, and Bilbo had better finish it for himself.
Or himself.
Or himself. Oh, had better finish it or himself. I was very comfortable here and getting on with my book. If you want to know, I am just writing an ending for it. I had thought of putting, and he lived happily ever afterwards to the end of his days. It's a good ending, and none the worse for having been used before. Now I shall have to alter that. It does not look like coming true. And anyway, there will evidently have to be several more chapters if I live to write them. That's a frightful nuisance. When ought I to start?
Boromir looked in surprise at Bilbo, but the laughter died on his lips when he saw that all others regarded the old hobbit with grave respect. Only Gloin smiled, but his smile came from old memories.
That just gave me the feels, man.
Yeah.
I just went all the way up my head. That is a fantastic paragraph right there. Boromir looked in surprise at Bilbo, but the laughter died on his lips when he saw that all the others regarded the old hobbit, this silly old hobbit, very well, very well. They're not laughing at him.
Mm-mm.
Grave respect they regarded him with. Only Gloin smiled, but his smile came from old memories and love. Huh. Oh, my goodness. I love Bilbo.
Me too. Of course, my dear Bilbo, said Gandalf. If you had really started this affair, you might be expected to finish it, but you know well enough that starting is too great a claim for any, and that only a small part is played in the great deeds of any hero. You need not bow. Though the word was meant, and we do not doubt that under jest you are making a valiant offer, but one beyond your strength, Bilbo. You cannot take this thing back. It has passed on. If you need my advice any longer, I should say that your part is ended, unless as a recorder.
Ah! Hey! That's who's writing this.
Hey, there you go.
He is writing that, and we did talk about this many episodes back, that Bilbo's job, his part of the tale, is done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it was even when Gandalf and Bilbo had the secret meeting in Bilbo's hobbit hole, and Bilbo couldn't let go of the ring.
Yeah.
That's how Gandalf tried to convince him, like, hey, your time's up, man.
And he's still having to remind him of that.
Yeah.
That's the power that the ring has. Even on someone as...
resilient.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's a good word.
There you go. Finish your book and leave the ending unaltered. There is still hope for it.
Oh, that's a word of hope.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to read that slowly and pause. There is leave the end unaltered. There is still hope for it. There's hope for that happy ending. There's hope that you can put, and they lived happily ever afterwards to the end of their days. Oh.
But get ready to write a sequel. When they come back. Bilbo laughed. I have never known you to give me pleasant advice before, he said. As all your unpleasant advice has been good, I wonder if this advice is not bad. Still, I don't suppose I have the strength or luck left to deal with the ring. It has grown and I have not. But tell me, what do you mean by they? The messengers who are sent with the ring. Exactly. And who are they to be? That seems to me what this council has to decide, and all that it has to decide. Elves may thrive on speech alone, and dwarves endure great weariness, but I am only an old hobbit, and I miss my meal at noon. Can't you think of some names now, or put it off until after dinner? No one answered. The noon bell rang.
So somebody's still quiet.
Mm-hmm. Still, no one spoke. Frodo glanced at all the faces, but they were not turned to him. All the council sat with downcast eyes, as if in deep thought. A great dread fell on him, as if he was awaiting the pronouncement of some doom that he had long foreseen, and vainly hoped might, after all, never be spoken.
Oh, my goodness.
An overwhelming longing to rest and remain at peace by Bilbo's side in Rivendell filled his heart.
All his heart.
And filled all his heart. At last, with an effort he spoke, and wondered to hear his own words, as if some other will was using his small voice.
Is that what you were alluding to this whole time?
I will take the ring, he said, though I do not know the way.
Wow. Do you know what this reminds me of, Brenden?
Tell me about it.
This reminds me of the scapegoat. It reminds me of the lamb. Oh, he's a little lamb, Frodo is, sitting there with this dread. He knows I think he could feel it several paragraphs ago, several minutes in the conversation ago, as he was looking with that dead. What did he say at that point? Dead darkness?
Yes.
Knowing what was about to leap. It was working its way up.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there quietly. Nobody's even paying attention to him. Why? He's a little lamb. He's not even Bilbo, who everybody has this great respect for, except for Boromir, but Boromir hasn't learned yet, right? This reminds me, let's read through some passages here to give the listeners some things to think about, some things to chew on as they are reading this part, the ending part of the Council of Elrond. Let's go to the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 26 through 30 out of the NASB. And this is John the Baptist answered and said, I baptize in water, but among you stands one whom you do not know. It is he who comes after me, the thong of whose sandal I am not worthy to untie. These things took place in Bethany beyond the Jordan where John was baptizing. The next day he saw Jesus coming to him and said, Behold, the Hobbit of God, the Lamb of God, who takes away the sin of the world, of Middle-earth. This is he on behalf of whom I said, after me comes a man who is, or after me comes a hobbit who has a higher rank than I. Right? Now, back to the context of John, a man that comes, that has a higher rank than I, for he existed before me. Isaiah chapter 53, verses 7 through 8, one of the most famous passages, and we love this at Easter time, don't we? At the Passover, out of the NASB. He, who? This lamb that John was pointing out, the lamb that takes away the sin of the world, he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. Like a lamb that is led to slaughter, and like a sheep that is silent before its shearers, so he did not open his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. By the ring? By having the ring in his possession? And as for his generation, who considered that he was cut off out of the land of the living for the transgression of my people, to whom the stroke was due? Let's listen to this. Romans chapter 10, verses 12 through 15, again out of the NASB. See how we can get this to fit in. Paul says, For there is no distinction between Jew and Greek, for the same Lord is Lord of all, abounding in riches for all who call on him. For whoever will call on the name of the Lord will be saved. And how then will they call on him whom they have not believed? How will they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how will they hear without a preacher? How will they preach unless they are sent? Just as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news of good things. Frodo is going to be sent with the gospel message, the good news, if he can persevere, and if his Paraclete can help him.
You got that right.
All right. Now, let's, I've been talking about some things a little more esoterically. Let's just get right to the scapegoat. Let's talk about Leviticus chapter 16, verses 7 through 10, and verses 20 through 22. Again, out of the NASB. Talking about the priest. Oh! He shall take the 2 goats and present them before the Lord at the doorway of the tent of meeting. Aaron shall cast lots for the 2 goats, one for the Lord and the other lot for the scapegoat. Then Aaron shall offer the goat on which the lot for the Lord fell and make it a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot for the scapegoat fell shall be presented alive before the Lord to make atonement upon it, to send it into the wilderness as a scapegoat. Jumping down, verse 20, when he has finished purifying the holy place, the meeting tent, and the altar, he is to present the live goat Aaron is to lay his 2 hands on the head of the live goat and confess over it all the iniquities of the Israelites and all their transgressions in regard to all their sins, and thus he is to put them on the head of the goat and send it away into the wilderness by the hand of a man standing ready. The goat is to bear on itself all their iniquities into an inaccessible land. So he is to send the goat away into the wilderness. Scapegoat, that word means, literally, it would be translated as goat of removal or departure. That's what that word scapegoat means. We don't use it that way. Now we use it, oh, he's just a scapegoat. Right? And
someone to take the blame for something.
Right,
yes.
But in Israel, they know that this is the goat of removal or departure, and Frodo stands up and says, I will take it. Take what? I will take the burden of Middle-earth, the burden of this world. I will take it. He is the scape hobbit. He is the hobbit of removal. He is the hobbit of departure. Any thoughts, questions, comments, piggybacks, editorials, off-the-wall remarks?
Of course.
Yes.
He says, I will take the ring, though I do not know the way. I think it's very poignant. Because... What?
Well, when you're thinking about the whole scene in the upper room in John 14, 15, 16, 17.
Oh, no, I wasn't even going that route.
Really?
I know where you're going, though.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to go that route. That comes
Okay.
up here in a second, though. I think it's very endearing of Frodo to be that vulnerable at the onset. He says, look, guys, I'll do it, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm willing to do it, but I don't know how. And I think that's a very strong character building tactic that Tolkien, and this isn't even new for Frodo. This is something that we've seen kind of building up within Frodo this whole time. This willingness to take on a mission and not fully understand it. And in just this little sentence, it's encapsulated, and it's for me, it's just very powerful. So, there you go.
I agree.
Now, to the Paraklete you were speaking about, yes, he just happens to speak up on the next page.
Oh!
Even so, maybe in the next paragraph. Elrond raised his eyes and looked at him, and Frodo felt his heart pierced by the sudden keenness of the glance. If I understand aright all that I have heard, he said, I think that this task is appointed for you, Frodo, and that if you do not find a way, no one will. This is the hour of the Shire folk, when they arise from their quiet fields to shake the towers and the councils of the great. Who of all the wise could have foreseen it? Or if they are wise, why should they expect to know it until the hour has struck?
Wow.
But it is a heavy burden, so heavy that none could lay it on another. I do not lay it on you, but if you take it freely, I will say that your choice is right. And though all the mighty elf friends of old, Hador and Húrin and Túrin and Brenden himself, were assembled together, your seat should be among them.
I just got that feeling again.
But won't you send him off? But you won't send him off. Oh my goodness!
Try that again.
But you won't send him off alone, surely, Master? Cried Sam, unable to contain himself any longer, and jumping up from the corner where he had been quietly sitting on the floor. No, indeed, said Elrond, turning towards him with a smile. You, at least, shall go with him. It is hardly possible to separate you from him, even when he is summoned to a secret council, and you are not." Sam sat down, blushing and muttering. "A nice pickle we've landed ourselves in, Mr. Frodo," he said, shaking his head.
You need say no more.
Whew!
Best get a move on. There are still goblins about.
Oh, bother. More mountains?
No, don't you see? The sun is setting in the west, behind the mountains. We're on the other side, to the edge of the land beyond.
And there we have completed, after 8 episodes. It only took 8 episodes, guys, to complete the Council of Elrond. And I don't like to break forth into hyperbole and things very often. I gotta say that this is one of the most expertly crafted chapters of any book that I have ever read. Look at Brenden. You just catharted.
I did.
What is the catharsis?
Oh man, for me, it's the connection that I have with Frodo right now. Just being so, like I just kind of said, being so willing to take the mission and not know how to do it. That's like the epitome of faith. Is it not, though?
It is.
Is it not? He knows he's been given the task. Right? He feels like the task has been appointed for him even before Elrond said that.
How then will they call on him in whom they have not believed? How will they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how will they hear without a preacher? How will they preach unless they are sent? Just as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news of good things. And that vulnerability, this is all the reason why Eru Ilúvatar is working in the background to fashion this. It is really similar to the story of a poor Jewish child born in poverty that has nowhere to lay his head when he is on his mission out in the wilderness. Foxes have holes and birds have nests. The Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Humble humility describes Frodo.
Yeah.
Everything about this. Micah, what were some of your favorite parts of this chapter, or what was the end result for you?
The end result? In terms of Frodo, a feeling of almost hopelessness, because I personally, I don't think that he feels that he actually can do this, but that he feels he should at least try. So it leaves me with a sense of hopelessness. But for me, the most poignant things were mainly the discussions of revealing the true nature of the ring. We all, because of the movies and stuff, we know about the ring. But if you were reading this the first time, this would be where you really, truly understand what it is.
And how the story unfolds, it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
And more ominous.
The stakes get higher and higher.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then something you just said, Micah. It may be that Frodo feels like he can't do this, but he acts on the impulse that he should. And I think that speaks a lot to Frodo as well, that he's acting on his sense of morality. And it's almost like I can't think of a good metaphor, but we see him, and I get the impression that he's scared. Is that fair to say?
Oh, very.
He's
There's a dead darkness on his
he's
heart.
terrified, yeah. But he's still, because he knows what's proper and he knows what's fitting, and he knows what should be done. He still steps up and says, "Well, I will take the ring to Mordor."
Let me read this part of this paragraph again. All the council sat with downcast eyes, as if in deep thought. A great dread fell on him, Frodo, as if he was awaiting the pronouncement of some doom that he had long foreseen and vainly hoped might, after all, never be spoken. An overwhelming longing to rest and remain at peace by Bilbo's side in Rivendell filled all his heart. At last, with an effort, he spoke and wondered to hear his own words as if some other will was using his small voice. I will take the ring, he said, though I do not know the way. Powerful. Powerful.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, there's Sam.
Well,
right by his
the
side.
Paraclete.
Where else would he be?
Right. And that we're going to, in this next chapter, we're going to be able to talk about that a little bit better.
Good.
And as we assembled the church, as we assembled those called out, is what the church is. I really loathe the use of the word church because it has lost all meaning in our culture. We just abuse that word. I mean, this is the church. The true meaning, those called out. Called out. We're calling you to a council. The Council of Elrond is a church, but from that, even more, a righteous remnant is going to break out and do the work of the called ones. Isn't that fantastic? So there's a little bit of I just pulled that off the top of my head, but perhaps that's a direction that we'll go on the next episode when we discuss some Christian themes in Book 2, Chapter 3, The Ring Goes South. Anything else before we wrap it up?
Well, we got to respond to the party tree.
What on earth are these?
Replies to the party invitations.
Good gracious.
Good gracious, they're everywhere. All right, we got a 5-star review in iTunes by our brother Ken, who we love having in the fellowship. Let's see here. The title is Supercharged with Enthusiasm for Tolkien. You haven't seen this, have you?
I did. No, you sent it to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To put it simply, Ken says, the Secret Fire podcast not only enhances but also expands the world of Tolkien through a careful analysis of his literary works. Combined with the knowledge of the host that the hosts provide, Lotro interactive gameplay. Oh, where'd that go? There we go. And the simple goodness of addressing Christian themes, this podcast is truly one that provides great enjoyment for every listener. Such a podcast as this cannot be taken lightly in a world that needs the simple truths of life articulated for others to hear. Boy, that wasn't very articulate on my part. Let me try that again. Such a podcast as this one cannot be taken lightly in a world that needs simple truths of life articulated for others to hear. We all should appreciate the way the guys stay true to Tolkien and respect his works, all while enjoying what they do in the process. Their love for Middle-earth and the wholesome values of the Christian faith shine through in this podcast. I highly recommend it to any and all fans of the Professor, as well as those who long to travel to Middle-earth for themselves in Christ, Ken.
Oh, thanks, Ken.
Now, Ken, you know how to encourage the brothers, don't you? The fellowship. He's really saying, chin up, guys, keep going, man. If you make it to the House of Elrond, there will be the tables will be laden, right?
Man.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
thanks, Ken.
Please keep listening. And any of you out there that subscribe to the Secret Fire podcast via iTunes on your smartphone, your smart device, please follow Ken's example and leave us a 5-star review. It helps others discover the show. You know, the name of the show is the Secret Fire Podcast. There's very few people are going to be thinking to search Secret Fire in relation to a Tolkien podcast, and we know that all Tolkien fans want to listen to a Tolkien podcast, and we want them to hear ours as well.
Yes,
and so those reviews help in that. We also got a comment on our Facebook page for the last episode, and this is by Aaron Govella. And Brenden, he had something to say to you.
He did.
What was that?
Man. He said Brenden brought up the difference. This is on regarding episode 27, last episode. Brenden brought up the difference between,
previous episode. We plan on doing more.
Get out of here.
In fact, this one would be okay.
Get out of here. Brenden brought up the difference.
Supersedes it right away.
Brenden brought up the difference in the phonemic sound between white and wise.
You did, and that was brilliant.
Well, Aaron had never thought of this before, that moment, but white could be used as a symbol for purity, good and Christ-like, whereas wise, at least in Genesis, could be a symbol for sin, eating the fruit from the tree of knowledge. I'm not suggesting that wisdom is sinful, but rather Saruman's perception of wisdom is. That may be a stretch, but I thought I'd share. And Aaron, I believe you're onto something there, and I believe Tolkien would agree with you. Michael is thumbing through his Nazba at the moment.
No.
No, that's not the Nazba?
Yeah, well, yes, of course it is.
Oh, the Nazba. He's thumbing through his Nazba Bible.
Well, let's read the
North American Standard
this
Bible
account out of Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more crafty than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, Indeed, has God said, you shall not eat from any tree of the garden? The woman said to the serpent, From the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat, but from the fruit of the tree which is in the middle of the garden, God has said, You shall not eat from it or touch it, or you will die. The serpent said to the woman, You surely will not die. For God knows that in the day that you eat from it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Yeah, I agree with him, because that sounds a lot like Saruman the Wise.
The Wise.
Okay,
Hey.
move on now.
Hey.
Hey,
Good
Ray,
stuff.
I don't think Micah enjoys our banter and our camaraderie.
That's not banter, though. It's just a bunch of hissing.
Well-mannered frivolity.
Wise. No, I think that Aaron brought up a fantastic point. Thank you for your input, and we hope to hear from you again real soon. Any other feedback? Anything? I mean, we get all kinds of Twitter feedback all the time and things like that, but I can't list all those. So you can follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and we'll give you all the ways to contact us here coming up shortly. But first, anything from the party tree? Yes, Micah, some Lotro news on your front.
Do you want me to do this today, or we're running a bit late?
Okay, and you got somewhere to go. Well, now you need...
Well, no, it's just we're a bit late, aren't we? And
yeah, we're very late.
Okay, well,
in fact,
but we just finished the most climactic chapter in this book.
Yeah, and
so we can take.
Okay,
we were wanting to spend some time at the party tree.
I'll do it quickly then.
Okay.
So, Lotro released the Mordor update. I mentioned it a long time ago that they were going to release it, but in the summer sometime they had released it. But I only recently got myself one of the additions to that expansion, which is the High Elves, and
tell us about the High Elves. How are they different than the normal elves in Lotro?
Well, the High Elves, or the Noldor, have seen the light of Valinor, which so they have dwelt.
They're like
at once in
Glorfindel.
both worlds. Yes, that is exactly what he is.
Wow!
So you get to play as Glorfindel. If there are any Lotro players out there, I'm sure that.
Wait, you get to be Glorfindel? Or a Glorfindel-like?
You can be a Glorfindel if you like.
Can...
And you can make your name very similar to Glorfindel if that's...
Did you do that?
No.
Oh.
My name is Landthor, if anyone's wondering.
Okay.
And secondly, something I wanted to really quickly bring up is that the next place we are going in Lotro is Northern Mirkwood, Lake Town. I'm doing this off the top of my head because I don't have the...
You didn't make any notes?
Patch notes or whatever pulled up. But, yeah, Northern Mirkwood, Lake Town, and... one other place that I can't remember now, but it's
Dale.
Yeah, Dale, Lake Town Dale, and all that kind of stuff.
So we'll see the mountain. We'll see the Lonely Mountain.
Oh, you can already go there.
Okay.
That came with more.
Can I go there?
Well, no.
See, then you just lied. You can already go there. Wait, can I go there? No.
So yeah, that's some Lotro news. If there are any Lotro players out there,
hey, tell us a little bit more. So, what happened when you created that high elf, that Glorfindel type elf?
Well, when you make a character in Lotro, you get a beginning. What would you call it?
A story.
Yeah, a story-driven sort of intro.
So you learn how to play the game and all that stuff.
For hobbits, it would be you start in the Shire, and for elves, it would be you start in Ered Luin, and same with dwarves and stuff. But as a high elf, you actually begin a sequence, like an instance, I should say, in the Second Age for the Battle of the Last Alliance.
Wow.
And that was very cool. I won't spoil anything.
So you're at the Battle of the Last Alliance, so you can see like Elrond would
High
be
King
there.
Gil-galad,
or
however you like to say.
Can you
Gil-galad.
see him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness!
You speak to him.
Gil-galad, sweet Gil-galad.
Yes, the Balms of
And
Gil-galad.
Elendil and Isildur and all the.
How fantastic! I want to see all that stuff. Anything from you, Brenden? Any fun?
No.
No fun?
No fun.
Just turkeys.
No fun, huh?
Just turkeys.
All right. Well, I've been doing some fun. On the local radio station that our other show, Finding Christ in Cinema, airs on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Working with the station owner there, working with Noel Clements, the director at MRC, Millennium Repertory Company, and a few other gentlemen on a brand new radio mystery drama program to air on the station, and that's really exciting. We got together the other night. We just had a couple of 2 meetings, and the other night we came up with this. Really a framing device, I guess, because we created our own like Officer Joe Friday and his sidekick Harry Morgan, to frame the stories within. So that we go, okay, here's our guys that drive the story, and then here's the story, underneath that, and that was pretty fun and pretty exciting. So I just thought I'd mention that because once those they start to be released, I'm going to let all of our listeners out there, anybody that loves old time radio and loves radio theater and theater of the mind and things such as that, we're gonna have fun. In fact, our main character is a private investigator here in town. We're making everything local, but he does all the jobs that the police department won't do. So when people call in with crazy things, I saw a ghost, they'll go, oh, you need to call so and so. He'll handle it. So we're gonna do paranormal things and such as that. And so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right.
How can you not be having any fun? Well, because you wasted all your fun on the turkey, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's coming up next time?
The ring goes south.
It does.
Finally.
It all goes south.
Man, it just all goes south.
So does that mean that the story goes south?
It does. Well, the story goes south, but it does not lessen in value or importance.
All right. Well, then we will be back next week, Chapter 3 of Book 2 of the Lord of the Rings. We'll be back next week, Luvatar willing and the Bruin and Don't Rise. We plan on being back here.
That's right.
Right? The Secret Fire podcast is live each Saturday, Lord willing, at about 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the GCT Network studio. Join us for live video on our Twitch page at twitch.tv/Secret Fire Podcast.
And you can join us on the Arkenstone server in Lord of the Rings Online at lotro.com. And you can support the GCT and GCT Network and the Secret Fire Podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/GCTN.
To find out more about the Secret Fire Podcast, as well as other shows that we produce here, including Finding Christ in Cinema and the Theonauts, visit our main website at gctnetwork.com.
You can send us a voicemail at 507-407-GCTN, or just use our emergency backup line at Crick Hollow at 507-407-4286. But if you don't want to let us use your voice in the show,
we'd love to.
We can use your words if you send us an email at at secretfire@gctnetwork.com. But if you don't want to let us use your words in an email, let's do it on Twitter. And you can follow us at Secret Fire Cast. But let's say you just want to listen to the good old podcast.
We do.
You can go to iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, or TuneIn Radio, or your favorite podcatcher, and search them all for the Secret Fire Podcast.
Our theme song, Hobbit's Dance, is from the album Memories of Middle-earth by Brobdig, Nagi, Bards. Find out more about them and buy all the music on their website at thebards.net. Anything else? No? Until next time, we regret to tell you...
I don't know half of you.
No!
Half as well as I should like.
Bilbo's getting crazy!
Like less than half of you.
No!
Half as well as you deserve.
He just made us look bad.
He's old. Give him a break.
Just give him a break.
Throw the dog a bone.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Oh, there's the episode. Okay.
I'm going to leave it.
Yeah, just leave it. Yeah. Well, there you go.
All right, you folks that have tuned in and watched this on our Twitch page, thank you very much for joining us here at the Secret Fire Podcast. We will upload this episode later on to our YouTube page. Go over to YouTube and search Secret Fire Podcast. But the best thing that you want to do, the most convenient thing, the full experience of the show is via podcast. Just search your podcast app for the Secret Fire Podcast. And, well, we'll see if Bilbo can do it correctly this time. Until next time, we regret to tell you
that this is the end. I'm going away. I'm leaving. Now.
Goodbye!
Goodbye.
Goodbye! Goodbye! It was tied to an upside-down turkey.
Oh.
Filled with butter.